This is a semi-workshop style webinar. And so we are going to be jumping into slides that are going to show things on the screen. And so congratulations and thank you everybody who took the energy and time to sign up for a Dubb account or a Woodpecker account. So that way you could be prepped and ready to then jump into these things and make those changes, make those adjustments. And as the title of today says, I scratched it off when I got working on the webinar. I realized it's not so much that there are little known ways, but we really want to focus on the improvements, the micro things that you can do in your sales process that can unlock incremental yet compounding gains. And these are things, like I said, that Darius has done, I have done, and I'm going to share, we're going to share with you a bunch of those things. And so I have a quick little question for everybody right now. Just I wasn't able to ask it during the sign up process. And I think it's always important because everybody uses different CRMs and it's always a really big, important component of how people's data and processes flow. And so I'm just going to pop one question on the screen right now. If you could answer and just let me know what CRM you guys are using, we can jump ahead into okay. They're coming in. I feel like, what show was that? It's like The Price is Right where the thing is spinning. We've got 35% HubSpot. We got 4% Salesforce. We've got 15% Pipedrive. We got 4% ActiveCampaign. And wow, I'm totally missing. We missed one here. 45% other. For all you guys who are in the other category right now, could you just drop in the chat what other CRM you're using? Because totally missed that one if half you guys are not even using something I listed. That's why I asked the question. You know, need to know these things.
There's so many at this point too, and also softwares that are like becoming CRMs, you know, like ClickUp or things like that really were like productivity tools.
Monday
became CRMs. Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of users are in tools like that for their CRM as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, great. Thank you, everybody. All right. So let's move on right now to I'll share the results, see if that shows up for you guys.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of Zohos in there. That's a big one we probably forgot was Zoho. Close. Yeah, cool. HubSpot was the winner.
HubSpot's the winner. All right, so you know what, guys? You guys took time out of your day and you should really be rewarded with great content from trusted sources. And so I'd like to share just a quick bit about me and who I am. And so I'm Justin Zimmerman, and I run partnerships for and with Woodpecker. And my job on a day-to-day basis is a lot like a prospector's job. I got to go out there and I've got to talk to people who don't know, don't like, and don't trust me. And I've got to get their attention, and I've got to get them to want to engage, and I got to get them to want to do deals with me. And so actually, that's how I met Darius all these years ago. I used a lot of the stuff I'm about to show you with him. That's how we got here. So proof in the pudding, webinar over. No, but seriously. The things that I've done, and as you can see here on the screen, I was recently listed as the 2022 LinkedIn person to follow, #1 by Crossbeam, which is one of the top partnership software tools in the world. And as a proof in concept, the things I've done are continuing to work. And I want to make sure that you know that from me, these are things that I've done to help move my business, Woodpecker's business, and hopefully we're going to move your business to increase the number of responses and engagements. And of course, actually today is day 1,400 in a row, no days off, never missed, of running every single day. And so I've got a consistency streak right now. And so I'd love to bring on my esteemed colleague, Darius, CEO and co-founder at Dubb. As you can see right there, there's a very handsome picture of you. And so why don't you jump into a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So, hey guys, I'm Darius. I'm the co-founder of Dubb.com, a video communication tool used by 65,000 plus sales and marketing professionals. And so in today's session, we're going to be teaching you guys a little bit about video and a lot about how to get your emails delivered. So yeah, you can see I've had a little range, been an entrepreneur forever, right? You got to do something, modeling, book cover stuff. And then of course, some other little small businesses I ran. But last 4 years have been just solely focused on Dubb.com. And we've grown exponentially using email, using technology here to reach out and grow our business. And so that's really where our expertise has been born and bred. And then that's what we're going to share with you guys.
And so I think one of the #1 use cases that's going to be unveiled and unpacked on how to get the results that everybody's here to achieve is a Woodpecker for cold email, which is an outbound prospecting tool. We're going to get into the differences between what you think is email and what is actually marketing email versus cold email. And there's two different types or two different worlds. Not all emails created the same. And so Woodpecker, as a cold prospecting tool, allows you to deliver low volume, high engagement emails. And then that little arrow across the way, Dubb, is, as Darius talked about, a video engagement sales tool that allows you to drive traffic to appointments, to landing pages where those videos live, to increase the engagement and book times. And so it's a beautiful marriage and process. And so we're going to jump into that in just a couple of minutes. And so first, let's talk about the agenda today and a little bit of the high level. As I mentioned in the earlier part of today's session, for those of you who came a little bit early, thank you again. I talked about how results aren't just one single thing. They're not a silver bullet. You're not going to buy one tool or one software and it's going to solve all your problems. I think a lot of you guys know that, but I just want to make it clear that we're not showing you anything like just explosive and one and done. It's about finding the micro conversions, the improvements as today's titles talked about in your process. So that way, if today you find 1, 2, or 3 things, and that's really my hope for you, is to pick 1 or 2 of the things that we get through to then improve and apply into your sales process. And so in today's agenda, we're going to talk about avoiding how to land in spam, how to get into the primary tab in Gmail, how to get appointments with video. That's going to be especially Darius's area. Adding SMS to Woodpecker campaigns to get more replies. Finding ways to test your message to pick the winners, because that's really what happens. There's a big contrast between what wins and what loses. One thing I love is how to automate your lead flow and set it and forget it. And then finally, I think what a lot of people are here to see is the #1 CTA that I discovered this year that has helped me propel myself to the top of the Crossbeam list and have generated just hundreds and hundreds of appointments and bookings. And so we're going to get to that in a second. So like I mentioned before, this is no fluff. These are things that I've actually done. Darius has actually done. We've been working together for 2 years. And so we're going to give you the inside view of each one of those things. And so as the agenda mentioned, we're going to start with the importance of warming up your domain. And so that way you don't end up in spam. Darius, why don't you take it for a second here and share with me some of the things that really were exciting for you when we first started talking about this topic, because I know that the Dubb audience may not know everything they need to know about cold email and warming up your domain.
So this is a really, really great topic to start with, because it's needs to happen before you start actually doing a lot of outreach. Most people don't know that if you got a brand new email, it's sort of like a credit score, where if you get a brand new, you never had a credit card, your credit score is 0 and the credit companies don't trust you. And an email domain is exactly that same method, where you get a brand new email domain and you have 0 sort of trust and authority when it comes to delivering emails. And the only way to build that trust and authority is to actually send emails, and not just send any emails, but these emails need to be responded to. Because if you just send a bunch of emails to people, nobody responds to them, or worse, they click mark you as spam or something, then instead of building this reputation from 0, you've now gone negative and hurt the reputation. So it's especially critical for new domains to start out with a good reputation. That means the messages need to be sent and responded to in order for the email service providers to recognize this domain as, hey, good credit score. It's a good person. They're sending good emails, not junk, not spam, and people are responding to their messages. So
you give me a great analogy right there. It's kind of like a kid right out of high school into college, and they sign up for a credit card. And what's the first thing they do? They go out and just max it out. And like, what does that do to their credit score? Boop, boop, boop. And so that I feel like that's kind of the visual that came to mind for me. And so with that said, I've got a little quiz for everybody. On the screen in front of you right now, you see 2 graphs. This is what a email sending pattern can look like. Let me know which one you think is the one all the email service providers like the most, A or B. Let's see right here. Let's go A or B. Which one do you think Google likes the most? Gmail likes the most. Outlook likes the most. Yahoo likes the most. Oh, I know some people. I know some people in here. Oh, look at that. Okay, here they're all coming through.
So it's like all the first answers were A, and then they kind of switched to B. So
yeah, think about it. Think about it. Think about what Darius just said. Think about what a credit score is. Think about what a reputation is. Is a reputation up and down? Is it erratic and sporadic, or is a reputation something that's consistent? And so I think you guys know the answer by now. Actually, B is the sending pattern that all the ISPs like. They don't want a bunch of things sent and then a bunch of things halted. And so that really now brings me to an important point, is that warming up your domain is a process. And there are two ways to do it. What I love and what I used with Woodpecker is that on the left-hand side, you can do it manually. In fact, Damien, who's from Woodpecker, he's from Woodpecker, he's in chat, and he's going to be sharing some links and things. And so you really have two approaches to make sure you get that nice, smooth sending pattern. You can go through the left-hand column here, and you can take the steps of manually setting up your account, setting up your from line, that SPF and DKIM records. Those are very kind of complicated little terms. And then you can actually start sending emails by hands to friends and family and getting them to ask you to respond, and kind of do that as a manual process. I would say for at least a couple of weeks, right? Doesn't that sound terrible? That actually sounds horrible to me. And so what I loved about Woodpecker is that they actually built a feature on the right-hand side to just automate it for you. And so you can choose either one of them. But if you're in the process of trying to get a new domain warmed up, a new email warmed up, I have a call to action for you. Again, this is a workshop. You should have an account. If you don't, you can get one. We're going to share some links in a little bit to get one for free. You can actually warm up your domain with Woodpecker for free, no cost during your trial. And in this case, because this is a special webinar offer, it's a 30-day trial, not a 7-day. And so you can jump in, go look at the settings, ask support if you have any questions. In fact, I'm in there and they're always available. I can't believe how easy and detailed Woodpecker's support is on this. And so you can go in there and warm up your domain for free. It's going to do all that work. It's going to set up all that stuff, and you don't have to worry about anything. And so that's the first improvement. In fact, I would say it's more than an improvement. It's actually probably a necessity, is probably the title of this.
Necessity. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say too, if you guys go to try to find a warm-up service somewhere else, it's like 10, 20 or more, $30 per email per month. So if this is not a cheap, I mean, okay, $10 a month isn't a huge deal, but if you have to warm up more than one domain, it becomes this cost that adds up. And that's on the low end. So the fact that it's included with the service, you guys are saving some major benefit. And again, another login, another thing you have to deal with. It's all included there.
Very
big
cool.
deal.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, I found Woodpecker. They've always helped me out taking care of things.
It's not an easy service. Like if you Google email warm up, there's a warm up tool that's like $60 a month. And it's like, why is it so expensive? And then other ones you can dig maybe like 10 or $20 a month, but still it adds up very quickly if you're trying to warm up more than one domain.
There we go, Darius. Thank you.
So there you go. Just saved you a couple $100 a year.
There you go. The next improvement, and I would say it's more of a mindset shift than anything, and Darius and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, was really the difference between the two different type of email service providers out there. Number one, you know, we're going to get to in a second, and number two, it's going to be pretty obvious. But the goal is you don't want to use a mass blast email tool. Mass blast, as you just saw in that previous graph, spikes that chart and then drops off. And there's a couple of things that it also does, which it doesn't put you into the primary tab and drops you into the bulk folder. And what I realize is that you can examine whether or not the service you're using right now is harming your deliverability, that credit score, if we want to call it that, by looking at a couple of key things inside of the emails that you receive or you send. And it's a pretty clear sign. You can see here, promotions tab. And then if you scroll through all the emails you're getting in the promotions tab, and maybe yours are in there, that they're signed and mailed by another authority, in this case, HubSpot. And so that's just an automatic clue to the Google, Gmails, Outlooks that, oh, this is not a person. This is essentially a bot, mass messaging everybody. And so, well, don't put it in the primary tab where human conversations are, where response conversations are sent for. Promotions tab are one-way broadcasts that are signed by bots and mass email providers. Another telltale sign that Google looks for in all the other ISPs is when you have that unsubscribe link and manage your preferences, a clear sign both to the bots and the services, but as well as to the people reading them, that this is not an authentic message to me. You don't really want either one of those two things. You don't want it signed by anybody else other than your own domain. And when you're sending a personal email, a human touch email, authentic email, my mom doesn't have unsubscribes at the bottom of her email she sent to me. So, and I don't either. And so it's just these little heuristics that make a difference in the receivers and the reader's perspective and the email service provider's perspective. Let me take a sip here. That harm your ability to get delivered, read, and responded to right off the bat. So what are your options and choices, right? And so your options and choices are to use an email service provider, your own email service provider, through that warm-up process that we talked about, and have it signed by your own domain. That's my own domain, right? That's dubb.com. That's yourdomain.com, not HubSpot.com, not Infusionsoft.com or somebody else, your domain. That's the key, most critical thing that's going to help you get into that primary tab where human level conversations are happening, where humans respond to humans. And so I broke a little chart up here, right number in front of you, where on the left-hand side, you can have high volume, low response, kind of the common email marketing tools, or you can go for the low volume, but high response tools like Gmail, Woodpecker, and then Gmail with Woodpecker. And so it's really simple and easy to do. This is what I set up earlier, is you just come into Woodpecker. You can see a simple process where you will click on whatever email service provider you're using. And then on the next screen, it will connect. It will do all that DKIM and SPF and all that stuff behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about any of that. And it will just set it up for you, make it simple and easy, and then connect your account Gmail to Woodpecker so you can start doing some of the things we're about to show you. And so my call to action for you is, especially if you got your trial account, if you didn't, please do, and connect your Gmail to your Woodpecker. It's really that easy. You'll see a screen just like this. You'll hit allow, and then everything else is going to be taken care of for you. Isn't that much easier, Darius, than what you were telling me and what a lot of Dubb customers?
Right, like having to go manually configure everything. A lot of the work is done here for you guys, where the SPF record usually has to be manually created. The DKIM records have to be manually created. And for some people, that just goes right over their head. And I don't blame you. That's not your job. Your job is to do what you're good at. And so that's why we build these technologies to remove that friction for you guys, to make it as simple as possible to get the results you're looking for. Like, I want to send an email and I want it to end up in an inbox, but there's a million other things that happen in between there and that's actually growing every day. It's becoming more and more complex because more and more people are trying to do the same thing. Every day there's literally 10,000 more new people trying to accomplish the same goal as us, which is send as many emails as possible to get as many inboxes as possible. And so with this growing competition comes more regulation, more sort of things to get through the hoops, if you will. And again, that's where the technology is doing this for us. It's shortening that amount of learning that we need to do and shortening the amount of steps we need to take. So
yeah, thank God to the whole engineering team over there at Woodpecker who just make this all work for us.
Right.
Well, Darius, this is going to be obviously a part where you have a lot to say. I also think that there's going to be a ton of value people are going to get out of this. And this might be one of the most densest, meatiest parts of our workshop today. And so another improvement that you can make, which is really what brought Woodpecker and Sales Message, my last Freudian, so Woodpecker and Dubb together, as a partnership, is that the power of video inside of prospecting emails. I've used them. That's what I got in front of Darius with. I put them in my sequences and I've seen phenomenal results with them. And so we're here to talk about how you can easily add Dubb videos with a little animated GIF that adds some action and some motion into your prospecting sequences with Woodpecker or any prospecting tool that you're using. Of course, we want you to use Woodpecker. And so we're going to walk through a couple quick things that you should know and do to get the advantages that this improvement offers.
Right on. Okay. So before I even jump into some of these stats, this is just sort of one thing I like to say to everyone is we've all written a lot of emails, right? At this point, we've all sent a lot of emails, and we've probably never received a response of someone saying, wow, this is an amazing email. You just did such a great job with this email. I'm so impressed, right? Like I actually one time someone says, hey, I like this copy. I'm stealing this. Like that's probably the best compliment I received on email copy, right? Now, when you send videos to people, you will receive responses that are like, wow, this was so cool. It's great to meet you. I've never seen something like this. I'm so impressed. Like people will be far more impressed and responsive to video messages than they ever will be to text. We can iterate this through testing. And actually, in fact, I recommend doing that. Send videos to a handful of people, send text messages to a handful of people and see which one elicits a better response. That way you have your own evidence here. Besides that, let's just share some stats here. So again, these are studied by some big companies like HubSpot and Campaign Monitor and things like that. 90% of people say that they prefer watching video for their buying process. And so if 90% of consumers are saying, I'd rather watch a video, then that's our responsibility to have a video available, right? Doesn't mean everything needs to be a video, but it definitely means that we want to fit that 90% of what consumers are preferring. You can see there's some other really powerful stats here. One of the most impactful ones, though, is the actual click-through rates. So when we're talking about plain text emails versus email with a video inside of it, you can expect an increase in click-through rates anywhere from 10 to up to 300%. So that means 3 times the number of clicks you can expect. We've measured this, tested this across many clients' accounts, and they were sending previous, plain text only emails, and then they would send a video email to their audience and easily experience a 2x, 3x click-through rate from what they were. So
I use this every single day. Every single day in my prospecting for partnerships, I'm using video, not in every single case,
right.
but a lot, actually the most of the time in cold, non-ever introduced, like, I'm Justin, let me tell you about myself and what I think in like 90 seconds. And I can't tell you, like, people actually, they don't reply and tell me how great my copy is, but I do get all the time, actually, I get people saying, I love the video. Like, I really,
Right.
I should share some screenshots
Absolutely.
about people actually tell me that.
And it's the most powerful impression we can make. Like if you can't shake their hand or talk to them in a Zoom or something, this is asynchronous. This is the most powerful way to connect asynchronously is with video in your messages. So
and I know we
on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. This is your whole business. We can't compress your whole business into one slide. I know we don't have time for that, but yeah, I mean, going back to one of the earlier slides, we're going to get into this more, but that's really the power of Woodpecker and Dubb together, because step 1, you've got email. 2, you put a video in the email. 3, people click and watch it, takes them to a Dubb page. And then that's where you have all your CTAs and calendaring stuff, which we're going to get into in a second. But I want to first show people just the basics right now on how, if you have your Woodpecker account open and you're in there, again, this is a workshop. I bring that up all the time. People are like, is this really a workshop? Yes, you actually could be building and doing this as we go.
Exactly. Had you installed the extension here, which is in this screenshot, you can see that's the Dubb Chrome extension, the little first arrow. If you installed that, if you're signed up to Dubb on a free trial, paid trial, anyone, you can install that extension. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a button right inside of Woodpecker. You can see that's the second arrow there pointing to the button directly inside of Woodpecker. And now if you want to add a video to your emails, all you have to do is literally click the button and it's going to open up this tool here where you can either record a brand new video or you can insert an existing video with one click directly into the email template. And then you're going to be able to send and track the results.
I love that. I've got a little snippet from that later about like when we get into the testing part of today's campaign. I love how Woodpecker and the email response A/B testing, and then what you guys offer as far as being able to test for video consumption and how you can fine tune both. It's amazing.
We appreciate you, Mary. Mary says, can't do business emails without a video. Dubb is amazing. Yeah, we appreciate you. And every person that tests it out, like I said, just test it. If you don't believe, if you're having a reservation, just do a test and your experience will be the same as it has for everyone else. You'll get some amazing replies that you just simply can't get with text.
Yeah, and I wanted to actually demonstrate a use case right here. So you saw in the last slide, the email from Woodpecker inserted with a video, sent, And then what happens when people click it is that it takes them to a Woodpecker landing page. Woodpecker landing page. I'm all mixed up on my company names. There's too many.
Right.
A Dubb landing page, and you can change the CTA at the bottom from reply with video to book a time or whatever. But I thought, everybody kind of knows, what a calendar booking looks like. So I want to do something a little bit more exotic, because I did talk to a couple of customers of Woodpecker who said actually when they were in the product market fit stage of their business, it wasn't about getting necessarily appointments, or it wasn't necessarily about getting customers. It was about getting feedback on what was going on. And so they had their beta testers as an example, because a lot of founding CEOs and for whatever reason, startups love using this tool combined with this to kind of get those replies. And so you can literally send an email out, send them to a video reply, and then Dubb will pop up a video that your recipient can now send you back feedback on what they heard, what they saw, and a testimonial. So I just thought beyond just booking calendar events, you can use Woodpecker and Dubb to actually get customer feedback, testimonials, case studies. And then on the far right-hand side, this is my actual screenshot here. You get to see who clicked, who watched, who gave a thumbs up, what percentage of the videos. And for me, that's like, oh, so I got like 11% on a couple of videos. I'm like, oh, I need to, shorten that video, right? And and I started fine tuning it, and I started seeing people actually completing the whole video. So it's like you can test on both ends. And so, as Darius mentioned, my call to action for you in this step in this slide is if you don't already have a Dubb account, you can get a trial. I know it only says 7 days when you go to sign up, but it's 30 days. Just sign up and then send an email saying, hey, I heard on the webinar I can get 30 days. Darius and I are going to work on making that easier for you guys next time.
Right. We'll anyone that signs up using the link provided through the webinar will automatically go boost you guys for 30 days.
Okay,
and if
great.
you want, you can email us directly as well and say, hey, I just signed up directly through Dubb, but I want the 30 days or whatever. So we can catch the stragglers that didn't get the link, and anyone that got the link, we'll give you the boost.
Great. Thank you, Darius. And so, go download Dubb's Chrome extension. So that way you can just unlock all those things that we just talked about and showed about. And so now we have a special announcement. We have a very special announcement, Darius. I'm really excited for this one. And I just think you guys are the best. You guys always do amazing things. And so why don't you tell us about what we're looking at here right now?
So the technology, we've actually gone and built out the full integrations between these two platforms. So we showed you guys that shortcut right inside of Woodpecker, but there's also the whole back end that is connected. So if you guys have heard of what an API is, it's the way that the two platforms communicate, and the APIs for Woodpecker and Dubb have been built out. So now what happens is as you add contacts to Woodpecker, those contacts are automatically going to be synced into Dubb so that we can get the individualized tracking for every single message. So like if you have in Woodpecker, it's sending out video emails, we're going to be able to identify specifically how much of the video is being watched by each specific contact. And so we don't need to use something like Zapier to keep them in sync. No importing, exporting. We just connect the integration, and the two platforms will put the contacts in sync, and they can communicate in real time.
That's perfect. And we'll spend some time on this another time, but Dubb also has a bunch of features that when you go in there are some CRM and campaign building tools. And so kind of the way you have HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, a lot of your CRMs, and then the 54% of you who said something that wasn't listed, similar to that, Dubb and Woodpecker now work together with the two-way contact sync. And so that's an amazing feature. That way you're not having two different systems that don't talk to each other on these really important critical steps, because we're all about improvements, and you can't improve something if you can't measure it. And now with Woodpecker and Dubb combined in this way, integrated in this way, you can. Woo! All right, guys. Well, I love it. This is so much fun. Improvement number 4. Well, now we talked about email and deliverability. We've talked about video, but then, well, what about this other really new kid on the block that's really providing a lot of impact and response rates for people who know how to use it? Well, that our friend here is SMS. And so I have experience with SMS. I worked at an SMS company before this one. I've integrated SMS with Darius. I've integrated SMS actually with Woodpecker. And so I've helped build these systems and tools, have used these systems and tools, and I know the impact and the where and how to use them. And so I'd love to walk through just a quick couple of things that if you're not using SMS in your Woodpecker campaigns, along with your Dubb videos, you're really missing out on the opportunity to get responses. And so off the bat here, I think everybody knows in some way, shape, or form, SMS beats every single other mode of communication when it comes to marketing, individual reach, mass marketing. And so you can see here, I don't need to get into it, but 98% of all texts sent on average get opened. Doesn't mean they get replied. That's up to your copy and your offer, but at least they get read. They're not being filtered by Gmail. They're not being filtered by Yahoo. They're going right from you to the sender. And so the ability to deliver a message and have it seen accomplishes so much of what we've already talked about without having to go through all that extra effort and work. And so Woodpecker, and shout out to the whole dev team, as well as Anna, who's been working on the integration here. If you haven't seen this yet inside of the workflows, you can now add a step after email to put in an SMS. So Woodpecker, they're based off of a response model. A campaign will continue until you get a response. It's not an email sequence that just keeps dripping and dripping and dripping. If you didn't know, it's designed to get a response. And so whether that response is over phone, whether that response is via text, whether that response is via video email reply, your whole goal in a campaign is designed to say, hey, I'm trying to reach the market. I'm trying to reach a prospect, and I'm trying to get them to meet with me, book with me, get a response. What are the responses for you? And so what I love about this is up until now, you didn't have the ability to automatically send a text message after an email wasn't responded to, or after a call wasn't responded to, or a LinkedIn message wasn't responded. But now inside of Woodpecker, you can build right into the sequence automatically. You can set the date, you can set the time, you can set everything, and really just jump in there. And so this does require a Zapier integration. I think a free plan will work, but I show here, this is as simple as it needs to be. It's not a big old complicated thing. If you don't know what Zapier is, it's just a tool that allows a lot of tools to talk together with one another. And so if you're worried about the technical setup, I do have a special at the end of this webinar where we're going to show you how to do everything for free, so you don't have to worry about implementation. And so if you're not a techie, don't worry about it. But generally speaking, it's really simple. You set up this manual task. You'll set up an action inside of Sales Message or your SMS provider of choice. Although, because I've worked with Darius and I've worked with everybody, that I've actually integrated Sales Message into everybody's system. So it's a really good choice because it's already integrated into Dubb and Woodpecker. And then from there, I have a little secret to help get my messages read. And I wanted to share that real quick with you, because when you're sending off text messages to people who may not entirely know who you are, you may have made some impressions on them inside of email. But the one thing that we don't like, and this is one of the ways I have around it, is a text message from an unknown number. And so what I realized is that if you go and use a vCard creator, and I think Damien can pop the link in there, you can create a vCard inside of this little app. It's for free. And then when you include it inside of your sequence, inside of this Zapier sequence, every single time this Woodpecker campaign runs and sends a text message, it's going to include your message and your vCard. So that way you're not anonymous. You're not Justin you're not 561-40474. I'm Justin. And so your name, your number, your contact appears, de-anonymizing you, adding to the level of trust of your message, and putting a name to the message, which is really important. And so I recommend go doing that. And so my call to action for you is go try Sales Message for free. They offer 14 days. There's no special offer with them. They weren't really a part of this webinar, but I just thought to mention it to you. So there's no special links, but they do have a 14-day free trial. And when you sign up for the packages we're going to show you a little bit later, we're going to give you implementation for free.
Really quick question on that. The Sales Message, I think, is only for US, right?
That's a good question. So it's predominantly US. It's 100% US, Canada. I've seen it work in the UK. I've seen it work in Australia. And then it does work intermittently in other countries that sometimes work. And so
okay,
that is a good question.
So maybe we'll have to discuss further for your specific location there, Rob.
Yeah. So I know US definitely. I know UK. And I know Australia, because I actually text with people from there all the time using a Sales Message number.
Nice.
Did I just skip something? Okay, let's go back. All right. So Darius, you did speak to this a little bit, but I think this is improvement number 5, which is testing your messaging. This can be quite possibly the most valuable aspect of today's presentation and webinar and workshop, because what you say today and the market changes, your product changes, maybe you're not saying the right thing. There's all these variables that go into getting messages read and responded. And to find one that wins, boy, you know it. And I'm going to show you one at the end, as I mentioned before, that is just completely blown up because I've tested my messaging. And so we're going to jump into this right now and just give you a quick overview on adding A/B split testing to your campaigns so you can pick the winners. And so inside of Woodpecker, of course, they give you the option to do A/B testing. And so you can have version A, you can have version B, you can have version C, and you can test out all sorts of number of things. And so I'm just going to walk through a couple of quick recommendations I have. And so for every version, you don't have to get as complicated. You do 3, you could do 2, it's really up to you, but I want to give you a view of what's testable. And so for every version, so version A, I would test the subject line. For version B, I would test the icebreaker. For version C, I would test the CTAs, which I'm going to get into later. And then finally, for version D, I would test the PS. And so you can see here, each one of these has an element that impacts your reader's respondability. And I actually do a breakdown of this in full at the end here, and you're going to really love what I'm going to show you. So you can see, based on testing alone, there was about a 5% difference between one test and another that I did. And, depending on the volume that you're doing, that 5%, if your average contract value is a certain amount, if you're sending thousands, if not tens of thousands, 5% could be hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands more dollars. And you just won't know until you try. In fact, that's actually probably the original. That should be the title of this whole presentation is You Don't Know Unless You Try, featuring Justin and Darius. And so I do recommend going in there. And even if it's just a simple 1-2 test like I didn't do 5 variations. I just wanted to give you kind of some big picture thinking of what you can test and why you should set each test up as its own variation in the Woodpecker test campaign. But again, you can see the difference it can make. And it could be even greater than this.
I just want to, what 1 minute there is just to enforce the importance of split testing, of A/B testing, because this is the only way you'll be able to make incremental improvements if you're actually monitoring your efficacy, your response rates, your percentages. So if you have no idea what your click open response rate is, you have no idea of what your improvement would be. Right? If all you're looking at is your bottom line, like how many appointments, how much revenue, then you're not actually seeing the effectiveness of the message itself. So that's really why these stats become super, super important to actually do split testing. And it really can come back to the simplest level, which is something like a subject line, right? And then just your opens. So if this idea of split testing and A/B testing is complex or foreign to you, keep it simple. Start with something the most simple, a subject line, the icebreaker. More importantly, I would say if you're new to split testing, really just focus on testing one element at a time, like the subject line. And then when you get more advanced, then you can do multiple tests at a time, like testing the subject, then testing the body in sort of the same tests. But I recommend something really simple like subject lines, but you have to split test because that's the only way you're going to know where you stand. So.
Well said, Darius. And you actually said something that I'm going to get to in a little bit, because if you look at the screen, you'll see that there's no opens and there's no clicks. And that's actually really, really intentional and one of the secrets behind my #1 CTA. Right. So let's move on to the next slide here, if it will let me. All right, beautiful. Well, I think Darius said it, go in there and create a split test. And I say, do it with the Dubb video. What do you think about that?
Right.
Go in there and take your regular copy, take your regular content, everything that you're already doing, and create a version A and a version B. Create a video, throw it in there, and then watch the results. And Google Woodpecker will tell you what the winner is. And I would say try to get out to at least 100 people each. So
right, yeah, you need a significant number of tests to actually get meaningful data. So probably 200, right? 100 to one group, 100 to another. And that'll sort of give you some information. Of course, the more contacts it's sent to, the more detailed your information will be, because that first 100 may not behave at all similar to the next 100 that you email, depending on your audiences and how you have them grouped. So that's another part of split testing, is making sure your audience is either specifically grouped or evenly blended. So
Yep.
like if you're doing tests, you have everyone mixed into a group so you know how it's going to perform, or you're just segmenting your audiences like buyers and sellers, and then you're just emailing them specific content. So
Yeah, and like role and title and industry, like that's all gonna matter. You just can't take an amalgamation of a bunch of different people and then hope that works. But yeah, that's a good point.
good question on there on actually, do you recommend placing a video on the first email? So I do recommend placing a video because there's going to not be any better way to make that first impression. However, we want to make sure that we did all the things in the first steps there, the warming up of your domain, making sure that your deliverability is optimized. And in that way, we're actually getting those emails delivered. So I do recommend doing a split test with the video in the first step. I also have noticed with video, the best results are when it's custom, right? The best result is when you actually took the time to make a video for one person. That's absolutely always going to be the best result. But of course, we're looking for ways to scale and to automate. So this is where we're going to take more of an evergreen video that's not to one person. And that'll be what we're split testing in bulk.
And if you're a Dubb customer or at least on a trial, you can meet with Darius once a week. I know you host office hours, and he can help you come up with a statement, a position, a call to action that sounds good and scales. And so that, I think that's another thing that, I know because, we're friends, but
Yeah.
everyone else doesn't know and they should know. And so if you're hesitant, you're like, where do I say, what do I do? If you're a Dubb trial customer, or even a customer, you can just meet with Darius and he'll help walk you through that.
Yeah, actually, here we go. I just put a link in there, guys. Just dubb.com/T. Live training 5 days a week at 10 a.m. Pacific. You can come in there anytime. Anyone's welcome to come discuss. So
Cool.
good.
All right. I love this next one. And in some ways, I feel like maybe we should start with it. But in the end, I feel like a lot of us are coming to this already with some sort of lead source, some
Right.
understanding.
We all
Like,
got
you
something.
couldn't, you got something. But I want to show you an improvement that helps save you time and things that I've used to help me automate my prospecting. And so there are automated lead sources. Some of you may have them. Some of you might have a script that runs or are using Zapier. Well, I'd love to show you something that Woodpecker offers, in that based on the marketplace, the integrations available, you can come into Woodpecker and you can choose from a couple of these lead sources that we're already integrated with. And I'm just going to pick one because I'm most familiar with it and I've used it the most. And so that one is actually LeadFuse. And so I wanted to show you how quickly and easily it is, and the way I've used it to generate automatic lead flow into my Woodpecker campaigns that just run by themselves and spit out appointments. And so, well, you need a LeadFuse account. And once you have a LeadFuse account, you can come in here. And then on the left-hand side, you can see company criteria. I'm in the world of SaaS partnerships. I'm looking for people in the technology space. And so I go in, I type in industry, and it shows everyone in computer, software, and technology. Boom. Nothing else. That's fine. That works for me. The people criteria. Now I know all the roles and titles of everybody in my industry. I just know them because I'm familiar with them. If you're not familiar with them, within 30 minutes, you can sit down, do a Google search, and come up with a list of roles and titles, of people that you're trying to reach. And then that's the people criteria. So step one, create your target list with the company criteria and people criteria. And then boom. Next step is integrating into your Woodpecker account. It's really simple. You'll get this little thing called the API token. There's documentation, I think, even down here at the bottom. I think Damien will share the article on how to do it, but it's really simple. They say, hey, what's the password to connect these two? It gives it to you, and then you'll turn on your lead sync from within LeadFuse to then connect the two systems together. And then the third step is, once the systems are connected, there's a third little feature that I love, which is really at the heart of this particular part of our workshop right now, is the Fuse bot. This is kind of a cool name. And what the Fuse bot lets you do is it lets you, once you create your list, you can come into the Fuse bot and say, hey, this list, and I just call it Partnership Professionals, which has 7,482 leads, which we couldn't ever email all at once or reach out all at once, which is the beauty of Woodpecker. I want you to drip these leads into my woodpecker campaign titled blank, and then every day send these number of leads. And so that way, as the lead list either whittles itself down or new people on the lead feud side get added and they find more leads, it just continues to push them on autopilot into lead feuds. I don't have to keep scrubbing lists and looking for sources. It's all done for me. And all I have to do is focus on all the things we talked about before, which is my copy good? Is my messaging good? Are my calls to action good? Am I getting good response rates? I don't want to have to focus on this other stuff and constantly switch back and forth and know which records are up to date and not responded to. LeadFuse and Woodpecker together do all of that for me. And so they have a free trial. So that's pretty cool. You get 25 leads free. And so my call to action for you on this step is go create your first automated lead list. Go create your first Fuse bot. There's a link down at the bottom. I think there's a lot of support. If you, on the last, I think right over here, there was a link to integrating LeadFuse and Woodpecker. So I think Damien dropped that in there. And it's going to show you how to do it. It took me 10, 15 minutes. All right, guys. Anything you want to say about that, Darius? I saw your head nodding, and I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, like, because there were several questions in the chat about LeadFuse or about using like a Upwork email scraper, things like that. So the benefit here, guys, of using a technology like LeadFuse or like some of the other ones is that it's automatic, right? You build this list, it generates them, and it's going to automatically import them over to Woodpecker campaigns. Whereas if you're doing something more manual, where you have someone scraping emails, they have to manually put those into a spreadsheet or into a CRM or something like that. And then you need another step of a Zapier or a manual import into Woodpecker campaigns and stuff. So that's really where these LeadFuse and Apollo and whatever else there's a bunch of them out there. But they all
do
very similarly.
Yeah, and they do more than just scrape email addresses. You
Right.
know, they validate them. They compare them against other public records. They give you their LinkedIn contact and profile information. So if you're running like multi-modality approaches, like you have one source that gives you all of those that you can build into your Woodpecker campaigns. And so, they make it easy for you in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of businesses that are scaling very quickly, they all have an automated lead source like this, whether it's LeadFuse or, many of the other ones that are out there. This is what people are doing. Navigator, right? People use Navigators like the base, but then there's all these other tools to actually pull the emails and stuff from Navigator. So yeah, there's many options out there, but I would say everyone that's looking to scale their business is using some form or other of lead scraper.
I've got some sort of inside information. You say Navigator, and I think I understand when I talk to the LeadFuse people, a lot of their data is based off of the LinkedIn data sources.
Right.
And so if you'll find a lot of commonality and overlap. And, I say, do your own testing, but, based on what I've heard, I haven't seen this, but what I've heard is that you might only just need a LeadFuse account to get your data and not necessarily a LeadFuse and Sales Navigator. And so go look that up, validate that, but it could save you some money and give you the automation as well if you just use a LeadFuse account. Okay. Well, I think we're doing actually pretty good on time here. How's everybody feeling? Good. Because we're about to get into the final, I would say, improvement, micro tweak, something that I discovered in the last year that has put me on top of the partnerships world, has made my world of prospecting almost transform from an outbound daily grind to an inbound, how can I work with you approach? And I want to share some of those steps along the way that I took and some of the mental shifts and the actual CTAs that I use that have got me to the point I'm at right now. Probably how I'm talking to everybody. It's kind of based on that as well.
Right. You're all here today because of the following steps.
Following steps, almost. And so one thing I discovered when trying to get deals, trying to get people to listen to me, to open my messages and respond, was that, and I probably could swap them on the around and say what people don't want. And I had to first encounter the friction and the things that I realized created reasons why people were not responding. And so people didn't want sales calls. They didn't want to be pitched by me. You're just another partnership person in disguise trying to sell me. And I had to overcome that psychology. This is a spam email and it looks like this big long thing and it's really complicated to read. And so people didn't want sales calls. They didn't want spam emails. They didn't want complex offers. And they certainly didn't want to be pushed or pestered, hey, can you talk today? Or, hey, are you available now? Or is now a good time? Like all that almost, I would say, weak copy and weak language, weak positioning. That's what caused me to realize that's not what people want. And so then I started to get success, and I realized what people do want is they want an alleviation of uncertainty. And that's a big, big, big concept that I'm going to dial in specifically in a second. But people have jobs and roles and families. In fact, I use a little bit in our copy today, get a lot of you here, is if your job, role, or business depends on outbound prospecting, right? I spoke to you. You heard that. You read that. If your job, your livelihood, your business depends on prospecting, you need to hear what I'm about to say. That's copy around alleviation of uncertainty. And so I try to understand the roles and worlds of the people that I'm talking to and find out what things can I say and do to alleviate their world of uncertainty. The next thing I've realized that people want is they want to belong to something. They want to have fun. They want to be involved with some sort of social aspect, especially in this Zoom. We're still coming out of the work from home world, and a lot of us are not back in offices and having any sort of social experience. And so anything you can do to create belonging and social experiences are going to be things people are gravitating towards. And finally, everybody knows this, free stuff that's valuable. And so as a marketer, as a prospector, as a partnership person, as a salesperson, you have to know what's valuable to your audience, or you're really got to go back to the basics and find out what that is, because none of the things that we've talked about today are even going to work for you because you're not sending anything of value. And so what's valuable and what can you offer for free? And so once you've figured out what people want, then you can put out offers that matter to people. And I think I might have one of my slides out of order, and that's okay. Please bear with me. And I will.
1 second there, Justin. Damien actually touched on something, the importance of validation. So we mentioned that Woodpecker does a part of this. And another person had a question of, hey, I have an Upwork guy pulling emails for me. Now, the other part, the validation, this is exactly what Damien said in the chat there, guys. If you go and scrape a list, right? You purchase a list, you get a list. Now, not all sources are equal. And in fact, we have gotten lists from things like Zoom Info or Apollo, and then still needed to go clean those tools with an email validation tool. So I would say that validating your emails is of the utmost importance, because just like Damien said, if you buy this list from like an email scraper and then you didn't check it and you go and send to that email list, 10 or 20% of those emails are bounced or not valid, you're instantly going to crush your email reputation. And all the email service providers are going to be like, you're a spammer, you're no good. So we're going to send your emails to junk. So validation of your list is absolutely a critical component of that. It's a needed step. It's not even like an optional thing. So the fact that they include it in there for you guys is very important.
I skipped past that just because it's built into the Woodpecker product. So I've never actually had to deal with that problem. And so I just took for granted the fact that that's even an issue.
Take the technology for granted because we're making it easy. But for those of you sort of plugging and playing different things together, that validation step could not be missed. Yeah.
Great catch, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Continue
on. I was talking about what people want. And what I discovered is in my world, in my community, for the people who I want to do business with to get their attention, I needed to come up with reasons for them to want to meet with me. And so hear me out on this, because I feel like people don't want to meet you for a sales call. They don't want to sit down and hear a demo of your product. They don't want to watch a movie of your features. They want interaction, and they want those things that I talked about. And so I invented, and this is the setup for the CTA that's working for me, is I invented something called the blank playbook for blanks. And you can use that subject line, the thing that people want for the role and title that we're going after, right? My webinar playbook for partner marketers. You have a blank for a solution, an alleviation of problems for your role and title. And so think about what that target role and relief from uncertainty could be, and that you could put as an offer out there. Because I'm going to keep building this with you. My CTA is around an invitation, not a link, right? Not a demo. This is about coming and watching and learning along with a group of people who also have the same problem that's kind of also tied to your product and solution, right? This is not like just, free volunteer time. that allows people to say, oh, I would like to come. I can be included. This is a social event. And then I ask again in my CTA, no link. Let me know if you would like the link to meet up. That right there is my number one CTA. Let me know if you'd like a link to come meet up. Let me know if you'd like a link to this event. Let me know if you would like a link to the solution. Let me know if you'd like a link to the playbook, right? Because by putting links in, people go off on their own journeys. You don't know what experience they're having. It's kind of hard unless you have a complicated follow-up system that lets you track all the pages that they view to have some sort of sophisticated, complex marketing system. Or you could just not give them the link, let them ask you for it, and then that response then puts you in a position to engage in deeper conversation. And so I'm going to show you right here. This is the actual results from a campaign I ran using similar things I showed you before to about 355 different prospects. And I got a 24.5% response rate. I don't know about your world, but if you send out an email to a bunch of people and you get, 100 people in a day or so to respond back saying, yes, I want that link. You can see here, my Calendly notifications exploded. I responded with the link and everybody wanted to come and meet with me. Every single person. And so my CTA for you is create group Calendly invite links. You're accomplishing almost the same thing. You're giving people something that they want. I would say try this as approach. Instead of meeting with people one-on-one, which they know is going to be a sales call, which they know they're going to be pitched something, if you could put together an opportunity for them to see the solution and you do a good job of presenting it and you create it as a social event and you don't put links in it, and you make them ask you for them, they're going to respond, they're going to show up, and they're going to book one-on-one appointments with you afterwards. They're going to buy from you. And for me, this has been one of the biggest game changers that has unlocked, in my world, new partnerships. I can't even keep up. I've got offers, opportunities, all these sorts of things coming my way because of this exact same system. And so let's see if I can get this to work here, because we're really close on time, which is beautiful. And I want to see if my little poll thing here works. Is it hidden here? All right. Let's bring up the next poll. And let me ask you a question, guys. Love some feedback. Let me know if you guys got any value out of today's presentation. A little, a lot, none. I would love to kind of get your feedback on your enjoyment today. Okay, we got a little, a lot, a little, a lot. Thankfully, no one's saying none.
And if anyone says none, I'm like, okay, what do you need? What do you need to see? Because either you knew all this stuff already or you didn't pay attention.
That's good. It's good. All right.
Right on.
All right, I'm going to wrap that up in a second. It's still coming in. We got 65% of you got a lot of value. And about 30% of you got a little value. And so a little is better than none. A lot is great. So, that's some pretty good targeting, I think. I think we understood everybody's needs to some level here.
Right.
And so.
And the other part of this too is if you guys have more questions after this, like you go and rewatch this webinar, more questions come up, we want to make sure you guys have the follow through, the opportunity here to come discuss further. I mentioned here on the Dubb side of things, anyone has any questions, we host live trainings every single weekday, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We also have chat support, everything there. So anything Dubb related, come on. And we can also help support with Woodpecker and Dubb integration. We're ready for that as well. And then anything on Woodpecker's end, Justin, what's the follow-up for them there?
Well, you guys all have my email address, so that's a good place to start right now. What's also interesting is there was a little extra question in there. And so if you're interested in a demo from any of us, I think that question popped by itself. If you haven't seen that question, fill that out because we'd be happy to connect you with the right people. Maybe me, maybe Darius, maybe some other people at the different companies, just because, there's so much to cover with all these solutions that, again, here's the case in point. When you invite people to things, my last CTA, inviting people to things, they're going to tell you if they want more, right? And it's not going to be a pushy environment. You're going to figure out and see what's possible, and you can go from there. And so that's actually a good case in point around the invitation style CTA. And so we'll follow up with all you guys. I'm going to end the poll right now. I'll share the results just so you can see we're all transparent here. So there's that. And so as we get close to the end on time here, I do just want to point out a couple of things to you. I appreciate everybody who took the time to sign up for a Dubb or Woodpecker account ahead of time. You know, you're in a great position. You've got 30 days, not 7, to try these products and services together. That link that I think Damien shared, that is good through Saturday the 1st. And so we're going to honor trials, the trial special sign up between now and then. And so this special offers expires on Saturday. Woodpecker normally is just 7 days and you get 50 emails to try. And so what's special about today and right now is that you get 30 days and 500 emails, which is pretty phenomenal. You know, you get to run pretty much a whole campaign and test everything out that we've talked about today for the next 30 days.
A lot of people probably don't even have 500 contacts. Yeah, they can have their whole database.
Well, then they need a lead fuse account, or that guy who's talking about the scraping.
Right.
And yeah, and then on top of that, you can, this whole period of time, you can warm up your domain for free. You can test out the split testing in your messaging. You can put Dubb videos in to see which ones work and don't work. You really, for free, which is crazy, for free, everything that we just talked about today, you get to try and put to the test. And so Dubb also has a similar offer. Technically, we're going to work on making it a little bit easier for you guys next time. But like we said before, sign up at where's the link? Is it in the chat?
Oh, there actually right at the bottom there's the 30 days to free Dubb one. That's the go.dubb. Damien, actually, Damien just popped it in there, guys, at 11 a.m. He dropped it in there, but Dubb, go.dubb.com/weird string of letters.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Anyone that signs up through that, we will extend you guys automatically. And then if you signed up just directly with Dubb, or you're already on a free trial or something like that, just reach out to support@dubb.com, Darius@dubb.com, any of those channels, and say, hey, I'd like my trial extended, and we will boost you there, guys, if you fell through the cracks. So no matter what, we'll make sure you guys have the full 30 days available.
And I think, you know, before I move to one of the last slides here, I think it's worth noting that none of these require a credit card. So sign up,
get in
there,
Dubb,
no credit card. Lead fuse, no credit card. Woodpecker, no credit card. I do think sales message requires one, but you know,
we're doing these things right these days because people get super annoyed by that. Or look, I just want to try it. I don't want you to hit my credit card as soon as I forget about you guys. So yeah, we're nice and friendly there.
It's great.
And so the other thing too is we do offer anyone that does upgrade, we meet with you guys one-on-one, and we'll set up everything for you, integration, your pages, your buttons, all the stuff that you're looking to accomplish. We do offer that one-on-one service for anyone that does say, hey, look, I'm ready to dive in. We'll connect with you guys on a one-to-one.
And you really kind of pick up on one of the things that I notice that causes people to not succeed the most, or as we say, fail, is that you can get all the apps, you can get all the tools, and you can have a lot of great energy after a demonstration and webinar and workshop like this, and you want to go conquer the world. But then you go sit down and you're by yourself, or you're with your team and you're the only one who's buzzing about this thing in your head. And then you're like, well, gosh, what do I do next? And how do I take these apps, make them work together? But more importantly, and that this is really what it comes down to with everything, is what do I say? What do I do on a video? What do I say? What do I do in an email? And I know that there's a lot of people out there who don't have the budgets for super expensive copywriters. Maybe they don't even have, you know, a content person on their team to help them think through these things. If they do, sometimes those people on those teams are so busy with other projects that they don't even really have the time to take into context to even put something valuable in front of you. And so while I was in Poland a couple of weeks ago, I met with the Woodpecker team. They had this whole experts camp that they launched. And these are people who flew in from across the world to do trainings to help customers improve their results with copy and content. And so if you're a Woodpecker and Dubb customer or on a trial between now and Saturday, I'm going to send you an invitation link to come to a free optimization session that will help you understand the zaps, the copy, the content. We'll invite Darius and whoever else wants to come in for video content and have like a little mini mastermind session just around you and your business and your implementation. So this is going to be a group setup. And so you're going to want to come prepared, because we can't help you if you bring nothing. But if you bring some ounce of desire, energy, willingness to improve what you've got, we're going to sit down with you and help walk you through that, because we know the app gap is one problem. We also know the skills gap is another, and we want to help you close both of those. And so, like I said, if you're a customer on a trial of both by Saturday, we're going to invite you to this session in October.
Nice.
Not bad. We made it. I thought we were going to blow our time budget here.
Yeah. Right on, man. No, we did a good job. And I think if people followed all the steps here, because I can guarantee, probably 30% or more of people don't have all their I's dotted and T's crossed. And if they follow the steps here, they will increase their deliverability to that inbox, probably 2x. Do all the things we said here, 2x your responses in your business. So just do it.
I had one more thing that I didn't mention. It's very subtle. But if you see at the bottom of the screen here, this telephone number, I know people tend to want my slides and slide decks. And so if you text the number slides and to that number, one, you're texting me. So I'm not GDPR compliant. Just want to put it out there. You're texting me, you're texting Justin, you're not texting Woodpecker, you're not texting any entity, you're texting me. So that way I can then see all the people who've texted, and I'll provide everybody the slides back. That's kind of one thing I missed in the housekeeping, but just want to make that available to everybody. And from there, I think we can wrap officially on the workshop. And Darius, if you have time, we can hang out for a Q&A, and then anybody else who has to go, because we're about 5 minutes over, they can head on with the rest of their day. But I just want to say thank you, everybody. If you enjoyed today's session, if you had fun, you learned something, anything, even if it was a little, give us some thumbs ups and likes in the chat, some yays, some emojis, and we'll hang out for a little bit until that party of emojis is over, and we'll hang out for some Q&A.
Put that number again there, Justin, the number for your texting the slides. Oh, there you go. Damien got it. Good. Right on. Yeah, no. And again, guys, if there's a lot of information right now, you need to go in there and start clicking on things and stuff before you have questions, then do so. Will the session be available? Yeah, the whole thing's being recorded, so it'll be there somewhere. Yes. But yeah, questions, you guys, again, go click on the stuff, get your trials in there, no credit cards, and then explore, get questions, come back to us, because we'll be able to answer them for you. In fact, in those live training sessions, you can get lots of video feedback as well. And I know that in the sessions in October, we'll have that opportunity to discuss and have a conversation. I know this one's sort of one way, you're just listening, but if you guys want to talk, you're welcome to join any of those as well. So good.
One thing I discovered now that we're officially done and we're just hanging out with friends, I've got a weird drink I started enjoying, and some people think it's amazing and some people think it's weird. I think it's amazing. I've taken a nice tall glass of ice, and then I pour a little bit of this cold brew coffee. And then on top of that coffee, I put cherry Coke Zero. Huh. Don't hate it. Try it.
No, yeah, no, sounds unique. Sounds unique. Yeah, it's true.
Because you think about it, coffee and cola are really similar.
Yeah, it's caffeinated sort of
chocolate.
Yeah,
like has like a little chocolate cherry coffee cola thing. So there's another takeaway for everybody.
Yeah,
life improvement hack number 1. That's what we should start with.
Drink your soda and your coffee at the same time. Get a real boost.
Yeah, we'll wait 1 more minute. So we're about my time's 12:10, and then we'll hang out for 15 minutes, and then everybody can go back to their day.
Any other questions, guys? Specifics? Upcoming seminar about the content and messaging, right? Yeah, Rhonda, upcoming message, yes.
In October
with the Woodpeckers team, and then every day sessions you can come talk to Dubb. So whichever you like support for.
Right.
Does LeadFuse give a cell phone number?
Sometimes, yeah.
Right. If the cell phone is in there, it'll validate it for you, but probably not every single contact will give you the number.
Yeah, not every single one. And I bet if you signed up, this is not official. You can't, hold me to it. But I bet if you signed up for lead views and you said you were on this webinar and you wanted more than 25 things, and you mentioned my name. I was talking to Justin or Darius, like, throw a number out to them, ask for 100. Maybe they'll give you 100 to try out. I bet they would even be willing to boost a little bit on that. I'm probably creating some enemies over there right now with that one, their support team. But I think 25 is a teaser amount. I think you really need 100, 200. I love what we've done here with the 500 number. I think that makes it great.
Nice.
Can you share more about what content you put in the videos? Yeah, that.
Yeah. So where's that one here? Can you show me more content you put in the videos? So Jamie, or Jamie, I would recommend definitely joining one of our live training sessions. Again, that you can join that, register for that right there, 10 a.m. Pacific every day. Oops, sorry, that was to Damien. Dubb.com/T. And so that's where we'd be able to have a nice discussion about everything content related, because the full answer is it depends. Is this for prospecting? Is it lead nurturing? Is it collecting reviews and testimonials like we showed? So it really depends on what the exact goal of it is. That will determine what's going to go in the content of the video. So like prospecting, super early stages. So then what I would recommend is something like a home run style video. Like if you're watching sports clips and they just show the home runs, right? They don't show the 2 hours of nothing that happened in between the home runs. And so when you're doing prospecting like this, that's the type of content you'll want to share as well, is really the highest value sort of stuff. Not as full sales call, right? You're not sending over a 30-minute sales pitch. You're saying, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. Great to connect. The reason I wanted to reach out to you is about you. It's always about them. So if you're doing one-to-one, which is recommended, it's always about them. Make it very heavily about them. The reason I'm reaching out to you, Jamie, is because I saw that you're the founder of your company, and I know you're going to be really busy. So we wanted to make your business development easier. Here's how we're doing that. And then that's the video itself, where it's all about them. And then a little section of your home run, your value proposition, your elevator pitch, if you will. Not everything you could say and do. Again, not a sales call, just like the most interesting things you could tell them that's going to get them to want to respond to your message. That's sort of a very high level, generic sort of approach. Again, let's jump into one of live trainings and we could discuss more specifically based on your applications. You can tell me the service or product you're trying to sell or market, and we can give you a better description. So good. Okay.
Adam's got a great question.
Yep. Adam. Yeah. Integrating Dubb and Woodpecker into a CRM that already has a email sequence. Is there a way to make them play nice, or need to deactivate the internal email? So, Adam, the way with Zapier is we can do anything, right? The Zapier system will allow any two CRMs to communicate, because Dubb and Woodpecker are built out on Zapier. So with Zapier, we could technically integrate them and have anything we want to happen. Like a new contact gets created in your CRM, that triggers a sequence over in Woodpecker, which contains Dubb videos. And then the reporting gets synced back over to your CRM. Like something like that would be possible. If you already have an email sequencing tool inside of your CRM, like if you're in HubSpot and you already have a full sequence built, I'm not
a $9,000 workflow.
Right, exactly. If you're paying out the wazoo already for some automation, then you might find a more cost-effective alternative with Woodpecker. But I am a big proponent of, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If you're already paying for some system and it's already in place, things are working, then I would say just focus on enhancing what you already have. But like, it depends.
But it really depends on the use case, Right. So like if if people are coming to your website and your goal is to drip them content versus get them to, if you're trying to nurture them, then HubSpot and all of those are great. But if you're trying to get someone to book a time, someone to book a demo, to show up for something, one-on-one or in a certain way, like one to a few, like I demonstrated in that last use case, you, depending on the entrance point of how that particular workflow starts, you might want to switch that with a Woodpecker sequence. And then if they don't respond, and you can fire things off from Woodpecker, like Darius was saying, into your more nurture marketing automation sequence. And so really, right, sales is all about time, speed to lead, right? And so Woodpecker is designed for sales. It's about designed for speed to lead. And so like if people just stop responding, which is one of the statuses actually inside of Woodpecker, it will AI itself to non-responded, and then you can have a click inside of Woodpecker if as your first system, and then say when prospect equals not responded, start this HubSpot sequence or start this other sequence. And so I would say if you have a sales focus funnel at the top of the funnel or the top of your entrance point, go for response first, nurture second, which means Woodpecker first, follow-up sequence second.
Awesome. That's a killer strategy. Emily says, could you do customized snippets in Woodpecker with personalized Dubb videos? So this is, if you're going to be doing anything in automation, right? Like if an autoresponder is being sent out, or if it's being sent in bulk or through a workflow, you wouldn't be able to leverage true personalized video in that case, because a pre-recorded video sort of needs to go into the workflow before you trigger it. Now you could send off one-offs, right? You could, Emily, record a quick Dubb video and you say, hey, Emily, wanted to make this quick video for you. Let me know what you think. And then you insert that into a custom snippet, into anything coming out of Woodpecker. So that would be possible. But there is no ability to truly leverage personalized video through automation, because those are it's like an oxymoron, right? Because you can't say, hey, John, automatically for each person in your video. So now there's definitely a way where you could find a balance where you don't say, hey, John, but you could say, hey guys, I know that as a salesperson in your role, right, you're speaking to them without speaking their name. So that's like a level of personalization you can scale. So yes, you can do customized videos, personalized videos with customized snippets, but not like in automation. Yeah, because the personalization sort of breaks at the automation level. There's ways to personalize videos. Like you can put somebody's name, like first name token on a video, but the video itself wouldn't truly be personalized.
Yeah. And shout out to Damien, who's like one of the smartest, brightest people I've ever met, especially when it comes to things Woodpecker. This guy,
there it is.
He shouldn't give out his personal information because everybody will call him. I feel fortunate enough. So when I have a question or an issue or something, he's right there for me. But yeah, Damien has the answers in ways. Yeah. Heart back to you, man. He's the guy behind the guy. Every company needs a Damien, and he knows this stuff really well.
Okay. So Emily, I see a part two there, but let me take care of Kevin's really quick too. Kevin, I'm currently emailing a 17-minute video, including value-added info for their business practices and then my business offers. My CTA is to schedule a call to assess their needs. Would you recommend me changing this, such as having a shorter video within the first email, then a second video as a CTA? So Kevin, depends on two things. One is if you have some sort of automation running where the leads are coming in, they're sending the sequence, and it's just that one sequence, there's not really an opportunity to squeeze in an automation. What does the volume look like on that, Kevin? And what is the deal size? Because if the deal size is potentially, higher, it's not like in the hundreds, maybe in the thousands, I might recommend just doing a custom video for each lead. But it also depends on the volume. If you're having 100 leads come in per day and the ticket size is hundreds, that doesn't make sense to do custom for every single person. If it's dozens of leads and the ticket size is hundreds or thousands, then it could make sense, because using the technology, you could knock out a custom video where you say, hey, John, I understand you're doing a donut business, and I can help you specifically. Here's how we're helping donut operators, whatever. And then, so that would be worth that in that instance.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of variables there, like your ticket size, your sales length, your sales cycle length, your lead volume. All those will sort of determine, should you be doing custom videos? But my recommendation, specifically what you have there, regardless of volume, regardless of anything else, 17 minutes is probably too long for a first video because they don't yet know who you are. What I would recommend, Kevin, come to one of the live trainings and I can show you how a playlist feature works, where that 17-minute video can come after. In the first video, you say, hey, I'm Kevin, and I wanted to just share this quick video with you. Here's the home runs we're accomplishing for businesses just like yourself. Now, again, this is a direct, go for the kill type of email, type of message. People have different methodologies of what they think you should do in cold email. Some people say you should say provide value, get them to respond. Other people say just go for the appointment, go for what you're trying to say because you have other targets to reach. So everyone's got a different point of view. Go with whatever coaching, sales, best practices you believe in. Don't mix and blend them and say, oh, well, I'm going to take this person's tip and then take this person's tip. And now I have 3 different coaches' advices. And so you're using nobody's advice at that point. So,
and then you have nothing to improve because
right, exactly.
you can't optimize,
just stick with
Spanish and English at the same time.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to my Spanish coach and my English coach, and I'm gonna try to combine them, and it's not as effective as it would be. So, Kevin, my biggest piece of advice is try to take a shorter version of that video. Actually, I guess my biggest advice, Kevin, come into the Dubb live training, and I'm gonna show you how the playlist feature works, and that way you get a very short video. So the timestamp, when they open that email, it says 60 seconds on it, and they're going to be much more likely to watch that versus if it says 17 minutes. So I'll show you some strategies there, Kevin, to leverage that 17-minute video, but also how to probably get more clicks and engagement on it. So live training. See you there.
I see a question from Robin Danielson. Besides Dubb and Lead Fuse, what other tools are you guys using? I can share that. I have a pretty simple prospecting stack. I mean, I use Woodpecker for essentially my outbound engagement campaigns. I actually use and I love this. It is so worth it. HubSpot's $30 starter bundle, $30 a month. I get access to like basic workflows. Their CRM is great. All the active lists, and I can sort and filter by role and title. I could spend a whole bunch of time just selling you guys right now on the value of a $30 HubSpot account. I'm blown away by you get a CMS and a content manager. You can have pages. There's so much stuff. And so behind the scenes, at the end of the day, for me is at the heart of my stuff is really the HubSpot CRM, and I love the email plugin tool for Gmail, and it tracks things and the snippets and the autofill stuff that happens in the meetings. But then sitting on top of that, kind of exterior facing is the Woodpecker, I would say outbound prospecting, and I almost use it as a follow-up sequence sometimes as well. Lead Fuse to help me find leads. I will sometimes also use Apollo IO. I love their web, what's it called? Their Chrome extension as well. And so when I'm on LinkedIn and I'm just looking around, which, as the #1 person to follow on LinkedIn, I do spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And so I will come across profiles and people and titles that I want to immediately grab and then add to a sequence. And so what I love about Apollo is that in those one-off cases of, like, I would say high value, high clear ICP match, ICP being, if you don't know what that is, just ideal customer profile. I'll hit that little Apollo button, and then boom, it will grab it and then push it into my HubSpot account. And then we'll also then add it to a Woodpecker campaign to drip and introduce myself. Let's see. Yeah, and it grabs the URL. I'd love to see more, because I know Woodpecker, we're working on an integration with a LinkedIn automation tool. And so I'd love to see how we can combine some of that LinkedIn automation with Duck Soup, DUX Soup. There's some stuff going on here with that. And then I also use Sales Message for my texting. And so people text me, and it helps me all integrate that into HubSpot as well. And if I've got an event or I need to follow up with people, it takes it off of just my personal device and allows me to do things like broadcasts and assign conversations and have some automations as well behind that. That's kind of like the basics of like my sales and MarTech stack. Nice. Let's see here. Anything else? I currently use Nutshell CRM paid version. I've started using a free HubSpot for storing leads. Yeah, and HubSpot doesn't charge you any more money for the number of contacts you add. They only start charging you for the number of marketing contacts. And so for $30, and this is where like it's so worth it to have Woodpecker, is you can use HubSpot as your CRM free forever, pretty much. And until you start needing marketing contacts up to $1,000, I think it's $30. But then I just use Woodpecker to do most of my communication. I'm not sending 100,000 emails out to people. I'm not trying to mass blast the world. I'm trying to create conversations and engagement. That's just the nature of my business. You know, I'm not a mass marketer. I'm a prospector for partnerships and trying to create conversations and in these little meetups that I do. And so for me, the expensive part of HubSpot's features, which, you know, you go from, I think 30, it's a big jump. It's like from $30 a month to like 900 or some crazy amount, you know, to get that next level. You get some features and stuff that you can't do, but they have a new built-in simple workflow for marketing that's free, a part of it as well. And so if you use a HubSpot form, then you get this other mini campaign builder for the same price without having to pay the hundreds of dollars, almost $1,000 a month. And so anyways, all that said, yeah, I use Woodpecker for the marketing and email, and not marketing, but just, you know, we'll replace that with that. And then HubSpot for managing all the contacts and fields and roles and titles and database stuff.
Nice. All right, I got to jump here. Anything else before we're good for today? Any video Dubb related stuff I can answer for you guys?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Darius. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Wina. Thank you, everyone who's taking time out of their evening, their morning, their day to spend with us. I'll let you guys get back to your regular parts of the day. Look out for some emails from me with recordings, updates, slides, all the great goodies that are coming forward. And remember, make sure you're on a trial account, at least paid if better, for Woodpecker and Dubb by Saturday. So that way you can get the special bonus implementation session, and obviously the 500 emails in 30 days with Woodpecker and Dubb. And so thank you, everybody. See you next time.
See you guys. Bye-bye. Thanks.